Hi Clever Pickles, welcome to today's handwriting lesson. We are going to be working on using exit flicks on some letters today. So what I'd like you to do is have your pencil and paper ready to go. We're going to remember that this top space up here are used for numbers, for our capitals, and in case we have any letters that need dots such as a J or an I. Again, with our dotted lines below, this is for when we have a tail or any kind of letter that drops down like a P or a Q. Then in this middle section here, these main two lines that run like train tracks down the side there, that's our body section, that's our main section. Now this doesn't look like a normal book. This is just for practice, so we can practice our sizing and our shape. So let's start with warming up our hand by writing today's date. And for me, today is Monday, and it is the 11th, which means I need to go up to that top dotted line. Now don't worry if you're not using tails or cursive or anything yet. These are some of our first videos practicing them. It is currently May, so I need to go up for my capital M. I need to come down for my tail, and it is 2020. Now don't worry if that's spelt incorrectly or if it's not your best writing, that was just our warm-up. We're going to start in this section here, in this main body section, and we are going to start today with 3 letters that use exit flicks at the bottom of the letter, at the end of the letter. So we're going to start with the letter A. So I'll give you an example first. Here is my letter A. And you can see down the bottom here, I have a little tail coming off the bottom of my letter. Previously we've been learning our print letter, which looks straight like that. So now we're changing the end of it to have a tail at the end. And this is to prepare us for moving into cursive writing. I'm now going to do another one with a finger space, and I'm going to go to this top line, touch my bottom line, and come back up for my final stroke that has a tail at the end. Now if you rush it, you might end up with a little A like this, and we want to make sure that our letters are similar shape and size. Now I'm just going to put a cross on that. I don't need to rub it out and redo it. I'm just going to go to my next one, A with a flick. Now if you do your flick too high, you're going to end up on top of another word or it looking like something else. So you don't need to have your flick go that high. Now normally in our lessons we do 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, last one, and 6. We don't need to do any more than that, otherwise our hand will get tired. Now moving on to our next line, I want you to check that you're holding your pencil or your pen correctly, that you're not holding it too tight or too close to the bottom of the pencil, and make sure you're sitting up straight. We're going to move on to the letter D now. So very similar to our A, except now we are going to come up to this top dotted line so that our final stroke can touch that line, and I will show you what I mean. I'm going to start like an A, but now I'm going to come all the way up, touch, and come back. Now you can see down here, I haven't actually touched that bottom line there. That was a little bit clumsy of me. So that's okay, that was just me rushing a little bit. I'm just going to put a little cross next to it and I'm going to redo it. So starting off like an A, but going up, touching that top line, and finishing with my exit flick. I'm going to do my third one now, but this time I'm going to make it look too small. And this is what we're talking about here. That's not an appropriate size or shape for that letter D. And then it makes it look like it could be a different letter. Is that a C and an L together? I'm not so sure. So let's move on to the next one and try and do that nice and neatly. And you can take your time with this. If I'm going too fast, just pause the video and catch up. Let's try another one. Touch the top line, touch the bottom line, up to the dots, and end with my flick. Remembering not to rush it. I end up with all these swirls and loops and I don't know what letter that is. Okay, our third one now, we're going to move on to the letter I. Let's start with my stroke down, my tail, and then come back to the dot. Make sure that dot is there. You do not need to do a dot like this. Absolutely unnecessary. You can see quite clearly here the dot that was made. I don't need to make a huge one out of it. So let's try this again. Straight down, touch the bottom line, flick, and then up with my dot. Try and avoid these ones. Too small, not sure what it is. And obviously you don't need to just do that straight line, and definitely not a capital at this point. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Let's try this properly now. Touch that top line, touch the bottom line with the flick, go back and do my dot. Okay, for our last bit now, we're just going to try and join these together. So we're going to go AI for 3 times, and then we will try D and I for a few times. We're going to try and connect these together. This is starting to practice our joining, our cursive. So let's go A, touch that top line, touch the bottom line, go for my flick and continue up to the I, flick, and then finish with my dot. I'll show you that again. A, curves around, come back to the end for my tail, but don't lift my pencil, keep going up into the I, flick, and dot. One more. Touch the top line, touch the bottom line, up, come back down for my flick, into the I, last flick, and then dot. Same thing, but this time we're doing it with the D. So the D is going to go all the way up to that top dotted line and come back down to swoop into the I. Let's try this one. Touch my straight line, up to the dotted line, come back down, straight back up again, and finish my flick and dot the I. Let's try this again. Round for the D, up to the top dotted line, down straight into the I, down for a flick, and touch the top. Now here's an example of what it looks like when you're rushing it. If I loop that around, see how my sizing here for the D is this big, but my I is only this big? That's when we start confusing what those letters are and what they could be. Excellent. I hope you have fun practicing. I'll see you in the next video.